Okay guys, so I have 3 specific drill progressions that are fantastic for the individuals who are quad dominant loaders, seeing a lot of breakdowns throughout their delivery due to the way that they load their drive leg via quad dominant, that will help you hopefully grasp an understanding and a feeling for what it is to hip hinge. I know from personal experience that the biggest component to all of this is the sensation that you get from doing a hip hinge load in your throw. For most of you guys that I'm speaking to are probably very aware of a hip hinge because you probably do a lot of deadlifts, okay? So that movement, right, is a hip hinge. Now, the goal is to get that sensation when you throw and you go through your pitching mechanics, okay? So I know, like I said, from personal experience, how hard it is to not only grasp like the understanding of that specific loading pattern and that feeling, that sensation that it's providing, but to also train it in such a way that it's now instilling your just motor pattern, right? Because again, like everything within pitching mechanics, it's just the way that you perceive a specific movement, and your brain signals to the body, this is how we move because we've been doing it for so long. And I know that if you're a quad dominant loader, it's going to be a very, very tough battle. No, not to scare you, for you to then obtain hip hinging. So, like I said, 3 progressions that I personally like in a way that provides that sensation, that feeling that we want when looking at changing your way to load the drive leg from quad dominant to hip hinge. 1 is a knee constraint drill. Okay, I was doing this the other night. You can blend it, you can do drive reps. I would encourage you guys to start with drive reps, proceed to a towel, proceed to a plyo, and then proceed to throws, and then proceed to blends. And when I say blends, do like 3 reps and then blend it into a regular throw. So this is what it looks like. Set yourself up in a way that your knee or your toe is against something. Now you can get creative. It doesn't necessarily have to be a plyo box and a bag of balls or a bucket of balls, but I would always encourage you to identify, where you're at. Meaning, am I going to put my foot right up against the box? Am I going to put my toe right up against the box and then go from there? Or do you need to give yourself some space because your quad dominant loading is just that aggressive? Okay. So for me, I'll start somewhat toe connected to the box. And like I said, I'm going to do some dry reps first. Okay. So I'm actually going to simplify this to the best that I know how, and I'm just going to start at the peak of my leg lift, and I'm going to start with my hands already separated. Now, all I'm really trying to focus on is the sensation of dropping into the hinge without my knee hitting the bucket. Okay, so it's going to provide that feedback. All right, so I'm starting up here, and now as I drop, I'm dropping into my hip hinge. Okay, so once you get that, proceed to however you want to proceed with plyos or whatever, and then this is what my throw would look like. Again, just kind of constrain it, simplify it, go here, drop into my hip hinge. Okay, and then you can do blends. So you can blend it, same thing here, drop into the hinge, and then right into just a regular throw. Okay, be careful with not hitting the bucket of balls over. Okay, so that's very simple. Again, these are just kind of to give you that sensation of what it feels like to drop into the hinge rather than to drop this way. Okay, second progression is an elevated lead leg drop into hinge. So same thing with this setup. Okay, dry reps, towel drills, plyos, proceed into a throw, simplify it. You can separate your hands, take the hands out of the equation. We're only focused, our only focus is specifically on getting your brain to download the new information that's coming in via a new movement, right? Okay, so lead leg is going to be elevated. And now as I drop my lead leg, okay, so it's going to look like this. I'm going to drop it. I'm going to specifically feel that I'm dropping into a hip hinge load, okay? So it's here. drop into that. Another one is you can do, put your foot even more behind, which could provide some good feedback for you as well. Foot behind, hands separated, and now as I take my foot off, I'm dropping myself into a hip hinge load with my drive leg. Okay? Another one, let's take that same box. I wish this box was taller. It's not. You can also use a physio ball, you know, those big balls, and place it up against a wall behind you. Okay, so it's like this. Say there's a physio ball here. You place it up against a wall, and I would just say these are drive reps because you want to stay, talk about the hip hinge vertical shin, right? You want to keep the line of your foot and your knee, but you're not going to roll your ankle. Okay, so you want connection. I think the physio ball honestly would be the more superior. You put it up against a wall. Physio ball you can place right up on that knee and you just hammer dry reps of dropping into the hinge and keeping connection with that physio ball. Or if you don't have a physio ball, you can use that same setup as we did with the knee constraint drill. Provide that feedback. A lot of people, I even do it too, you'll start to see that invert of the ankle, and that's not what we want. We don't want the ankle to go backwards. We want the ankle to remain sturdy and stable, and we want the move to come from hip external rotation. Okay? Third one that you can do is any type of band assisted movement. All right? Any type of band, strap, something that helps you pull your body into a hinge. So I would encourage a couple different movements. Put the band around your waist, have someone pull it or put it up against a wall, get to peak leg lift, feel the tension pulling you back, and then get into your drive phase. That's one. Or even have the band being pulled at a 45-degree angle back, and then enter your drive phase there. Okay? A really cool thing that you can do with bands is you can obviously increase the tension, so you can create any movement that you want without having to then like stabilize it. So for me, a huge piece to all of this is the constant exploration of these movement patterns, right? And to be in these movement patterns and to hammer these reps of this movement pattern as much as we can for the brain to go, okay, that's the way you want to move. Here we go. Instilling new movement. So I would always recommend dry reps first to get a sense of what you're trying to feel. Boom, got it, great. Now I have a cue. Now I have a physical cue to go to when I'm maybe doing like my drill progressions and my plyos or whatever. All right, everyone's physical cue is going to be different, so that's why I like dry reps within constraint settings to then have you discover that. Okay, so that's why I got knee constraint drill. Lead leg drop into hinge, elevated lead leg drop into hinge, and any band resisted type drill, strap, and also the one with the physio ball. I don't know what I would call that yet. So yeah, check those out. Hopefully they provide some good feedback, and we'll go from there.